So, we have a special guest today. The special guest we have today is Mr. Warren Franklin. Mr. Warren Franklin graduated from CSA from the theater program in 2015. From that point, he went to Baldwin Wallace. After Baldwin Wallace, he went to New York, and he's got quite a story to tell. What I think, would you want to just talk a little bit about that journey from here to where you are now first? Yeah. Okay, so he's going to start with just sort of talking a little bit about how he got from CSA, where you started at 15 years old, to the national tour of Hamilton. And then we're going to open it up for questions. So we just, with no more wasted time, Warren, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So the question really is, when you started at CSA, I know it's a little awkward, so I'll start with the first question. You started at age 15. Mm-hmm. What were the steps along the way that eventually led you to returning to Cleveland in the national tour of Hamilton?
Yeah, so I went to CSA, like you said, graduated class of 2015. And CSA was like, it was interesting because when I got here, all the teachers could tell you, I was like, I kind of want to make my own major. I was like obsessed with like doing my own route. So like, even though I was a theater major, I was also in jazz art with Dr. Woods, but I was also in the dance program as well. So like I tried to like do like a triple major thing. It was dumb, but like I tried because I wanted to do music theater. As much as I love acting, I love singing, and I love dancing, and I tried to do so much. So I even think do you guys still do New Play?
Yes.
Yeah, even like 1 year with New Play, I was in like every bill at one point just because like I choreographed a dance and I was in a song, but I was also directing a play, but I was also starring in one. So like, I think CSA gave me the opportunity to know that I can do anything, and that when you look at something or the structure of a program, you may think that like, oh, just because that's the way it's set or what it's been done traditionally, you can go outside the lines of it and kind of build your own thing. So CSA kind of taught me the freedom of expression. And then, I graduated from here. I went to Baldwin Wallace University and got my bachelor's of music in music theater. And that was a lot because that really taught me the ropes of the industry and gave me a lot of professional opportunities. I graduated, got my diploma, and then 2 weeks after, I moved to New York. And then 2 weeks after, I was on tour with Hamilton. And I toured with Hamilton for about a year and a half. Then the pandemic happened. And then once the pandemic happened, I was like, oh my God, who am I if I'm not on stage? Like, who am I? So it kind of gave me opportunity to like look into myself and see who I was just as a person and not just an artist. And in that time, I got to do some great TV film stuff. So then I booked Grownish on TV, playing opposite Chloe Bailey. And that was great doing that because I don't think I would have had the opportunity to do TV and film if I was still on tour. And then we shot 2 seasons of Grownish, and then I went back to Hamilton. Been on tour with Hamilton ever since. My last show in Hamilton is actually this Sunday. I get to bow here in my hometown. It'll be like my 700th show in Hamilton. And then I'm returning to TV. I've been like juggling, filming a TV show and being on stage now. Back to TV, and yeah, that's kind of like my journey in like a small little thing with some like bumps and crazy things in the world that I left out. But yeah, that's like the gist of it.
We want to give everybody a chance to ask questions. So let's start asking questions. Danielle, yeah, you got a question?
So you work on Tour Hamilton, and I know that musical involves a lot of running around and singing at the same
Yeah. Stamina. I've been singing ever since I was little. But Hamilton's a different beast. It's a 3-hour show. It's 50 songs, 26 dance numbers, 22,000 words. We say a lot. It's a lot of lines. And I play Marquis de Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson, so it's hard. But I think I don't know. Like, I've just always had good vocal stamina, I guess. But you know, in the pandemic, I was like, I got to go back to work. So just like getting on the treadmill and running, but singing at the same time that you run. Or back home in LA, just kind of running around my neighborhood, just singing at the same time or saying your lines, because it's a lot of rapping too. So in one of my songs, I rap 6.3 words per second. So it's just a lot to like get it all out of your mouth. But stamina and paying attention and staying in it. I think like whoever your scene partner is, as long as you're like matching eyes with them and you're staying in it, it'll go. And like mistakes happen. It's 8 shows a week. Every week, we don't even get weeks off during the holidays. So I think mistakes are gonna happen, but just like flowing through the mistakes. But it is a lot, yeah. So trying to like monitor, y'all are young, but y'all will get into adult life soon of like, okay, if you know you have 2 shows tomorrow, you probably shouldn't drink that much. You probably shouldn't be smoking that much. Like, you know what I mean? So just like adulting and knowing when to do things in moderation. Like have fun, go out, have a good time, but know work comes first. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What was your motivation to keep going? Even like during the pandemic and stuff, probably lost a little bit. What was your motivation to keep going?
Yeah, I lost a lot of hope. I think everything was shut down. So like there was no Broadway, there was no TV, there was no film, so I didn't feel like I had a place for a creative outlet at all. So a bunch of me and my friends, like, we like Google, like, where are the COVID numbers the least at? So we found that it was in Idaho. So we got on a flight and we went to Idaho and we got in a house and just kind of got away from everybody. And it was fun because we got to write like stupid music that like no one will ever hear. We got to write like plays and musicals and dances, or some days just wake up and like play Mario Party all day or like go to the lake. Just like, I think we were such in a routine before COVID of like having to come to school, having to go to work, having to do all these things that like we weren't having fun. We didn't know who we were. We didn't have a moment to just stop. So it gave me and my friends a moment to just stop and like see like, actually, who am I? Actually, what do I want? Do I even want to do this? What are my goals in my career? And I think after that, things really opened up for me because I was able to be myself, and I didn't have to be like this new kid in the industry. Because I just graduated from college 3 years ago, but I've already done TV, film, and Broadway, you know? But I think that's a testament of I'm just myself, and I'm not trying to be who casting or who producers want me to be. Like, you either get me or you love it, or you don't, and that's on you, because there's so many opportunities where everybody can shine, you know? So I think having that mindset helped me, yeah.
Yeah.
Where's your favorite place to perform Hamilton at? Like, what stage?
This is gonna sound so cheesy, but in Cleveland. It's gonna sound so crazy. Well, because the theater that we're at, I saw my first show there when I was 6 years old. An interesting story about that is I was like, oh, this show is so cool, but it's all white people. And like there was no one who looks like me at all. And now the fact that kids get to come and see Hamilton and they're like, I see myself in him. Like that's my skin complexion. He has the same hair color as me, the same beard as me, whatever. Like the fact that now I'm the representation that I lacked and that I wanted to see when I was younger. The fact that kids can see that, or even the fact that white kids or people who aren't of color can come and see the representation on stage and be like, okay, this is the precedent. This is what it's supposed to be. This is what representation means and matters. Just like, it's just kind of overwhelming to step on that stage and know that like, I was up in those seats, you know, so definitely Cleveland. Also, the best audiences are here. Yeah.
Okay. Hi,
What's up?
I'm Lee. I have, it's like a 3-part question.
That's okay.
Short question. Ready?
Okay.
Who was the character you played?
In Hamilton,
Uh-huh.
Marquis de Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as somebody who works, like you run this all the time, I'm not sure if you'll ever get tired of the show. Will you ever get tired of the show?
I am.
And before you got tired of it, what was your favorite musical number?
Okay. And I say I am because like I do 8 shows a week. Like y'all are tired of coming to school, right? Yeah. But you come to school, you love your friends, you do what you do, you know? So like, it's kind of like that. But there's at least a moment every other show where I'm just like, wow, like I'm really up here. Like I'm really doing this. Like, so you're reminded of the amazing things in it, but it's also a job, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like, you know, there's days where we feel insecure, or we don't want to get to be in front of people, and like my job is to walk out in front of 3,000 people every day, sometimes 2 shows a day, so it's 6,000 people, and like take all of me out to play 2 other people, you know? So like, I don't think people realize the complexities of playing 16 different parts a week, but you do it. My favorite number is probably Helpless, because the music is just everything. I don't sing in that number, it's an all-girls number, but the music, the chords are really beautiful. The way it pushes major and minor thoughts with the music. I'm a little music theory nerd, but it's really, really good. So I love that number.
Okay, now last part of my question.
Uh-huh.
You feel like doing a little Lafayette?
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? Even contractually, especially with the cameras here, I can't contractually. Yeah. Like, it's literally in our contract. You must never perform any number from the show. Yeah, on.
Can you just sing a song?
I can't. I can't. I'm so sorry.
Sing like Happy Birthday.
Okay, next question.
Yeah. Yes.
You said you like moved to Europe 2 years after you graduated,
Uh-huh.
and then you got to Hamilton as soon as you got there. So how did that process go?
Bless you. Yeah, so basically, long story short, when I was 19, I saw the original Broadway cast of Hamilton, because my music director from BW had worked on Bring It On the musical with Lin-Manuel Miranda, my boss, and on Bring It On the musical with him. So they knew of me, and at the time, my college was doing In the Heights, and we did this like master class with Alec Lackmore, the music supervisor of our company. And basically, one of the guys were out that day, and they wanted to hear a song that we did. And they were like, oh, we can't do it because he's out. And I was like, I could do it. And they were like, oh, but you play that character. You can't rap against yourself. And I was like, yes, I can. So I did it for him, and he liked it, and he was like, oh, when you come to Hamilton, you got to meet Lynn. And you know, people say things like that, and I'm like, this dude is lying. Like, I'm not going to come to Hamilton and meet Lynn. But then I came to Hamilton, and I went backstage, and my brother was there with me. We met the whole cast, and I told Lynn, I was like, I'm gonna book this show, and I'm gonna play that role. And he was like, yo, I love that. I've heard so much about you. Keep being tenacious and passionate, and I hope to see you up here. And yeah, we do a senior showcase in college. So I think even before I graduated from college, within like the first week, I was in the final callback for like Hamilton, Book of Mormon, Frozen, Wicked, and a play at Lincoln Center, like all within like my break of my next showcase performance before I even signed with my agent. So it kind of went fast. They knew who I was when I came in. I auditioned, I did a dance call by myself. They said it was like the fastest audition process in Hamilton history, and then I was on the road right after that. I learned the whole show in a rehearsal room by myself. And you know, there's like turntables on the floor and people, and like it's the craziest show ever, but it just worked out. And then the first time I did it was in front of 3,000 people in Oklahoma City in costume with lights and sound, and I didn't kill nobody, and I'm still here, so it worked out.
Yeah, Logan.
Okay, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's actually 3.
Okay.
So, 1, are you happy with where you are right now?
Oh my God.
2, 2, do you want to strive for more? And 3, what's your like number 1 goal for your future?
Wow, that is some great questions.
That deep?
That's very deep, yes. I would say I'm happy right now. I'm getting happier. I think I've been so go. Like even once I left CSA, after I left CSA, then I did regional theater. After regional theater, I did collegiate theater, which was also doing regional theater at the same time, and Shakespeare festivals. And then after college, going into like, I've never had a time to just like not be in a show. So after Sunday will probably be my first time not doing a show in like a decade, besides the pandemic, you know? So I think I'm happy to, even though I'm filming another TV show, I'm happy to like not do like an 8 show a week, you know what I mean? So I'm happy, but I know I'm about to be happier because I'm about to discover a side of me that I don't even know yet. And also like, just because you're 15, 16, 17, 18, when I tell you the growth never stops, like I'm learning things about myself at 25. My friends who are in their 30s and 40s are learning things about themselves. Like growth doesn't stop because of age. There's some of you probably in here that know yourselves better than me because that's just how life is now. No one knows themselves better because of age. That doesn't mean anything. So I want to tell y'all that because I wish I knew that in high school. Next question was, what do I want to do more of? So I've done a lot. Now I want to, and I think we are like, I don't know, the industry's weird in saying this, but like Black women are amazing. And I'm so inspired by the Issa Raes and the Taraji P. Hensons and the Beyoncés and these people who are the women who are like, I'm gonna star in it, I'm gonna produce it, I'm gonna write it, I'm gonna be the showrunner, I'm gonna be executive producer. Like that's amazing. So I think I want to do more producing and I want to do more writing. I'm working on a pilot right now, but I want to be everything. I want to create everything, and I want to even be able to produce works for local artists and people who I have nothing to do with it, but I'm like, I read the script, I believe in this project, here's the money you need. So now I want to produce more as well. So yeah, that's some of my goals coming up. And there's people behind you too, Doc.
What did the audition process look like, and like what was the process of like getting a casting director or like an agent, things like that?
Yes, so I'll tell you the difference first of all between a casting director and an agent. A casting director doesn't work for you. Casting works for the casting department. So Tulsi, Stuart Whitley, things like that. Like they have their own casting teams and departments so that when you come in for an audition, casting is sitting behind the desk. And you get to know casting over time. So like when I was younger, I would walk in and be like a little nervous, and now I'm like, what's up, Kim? Like, you know what I mean? Like you start to know who's in casting. My process of getting my agent is, the great thing about Baldwin Wallace is we have things like this where casting directors and agents and managers come and they see our shows, they see work we do, we get up and audition for them and they give us notes about what's going on in the industry and how we fit in it. So my agent, Richard Fisher, who's with A3 Abrams, which is one of the best, biggest agencies in the world, he kind of knew he had me since junior year of college, but he wanted to see how I matured into my senior year. And yeah, I think I had a lot of agent interest. We were just talking about this at BW yesterday, but usually someone gets around like 10 to 15 offers after showcase, and I think I had about 45. So yeah, there's a lot of different agents and managers in New York. We could speak to that later if you want to one-on-one, but an agent and a manager is a little different. I have both right now working for me. And the other part of your question was, what was the audition process like? So everybody's audition process is different. There's a bunch of people in Hamilton who auditioned about 15 to 20 times before they got it. I did it once, and that was me and just God being the amazing God that He is in my life. But yeah, I think that everyone's is different. You usually have to start with like a general packet. It's like, girl, can you sing? You know, so it's like, can you sing? Can you rap? Even if you're a girl, can you sing? Can you rap? Then once they hear you sing and rap, then it's like, oh, I think she would be an Angelica or Peggy or Eliza, or maybe, because there are people in our company who cover all of those, or she'd be an ensemble as a dancer, and then they kind of take it from there with different packets and dance calls and all the audition process stuff. So it could be as quick as 2 weeks or as long as 3 years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tariq.
What did you love the most about CSA, and how are you still friends with anybody that you used to know?
My friend, literally to this day, my friend Kari Craig, who was in drama with me, she lives in San Diego. Literally 2 days ago, missed 3 flights to come see me in Hamilton. Her flight kept getting delayed, and she literally was such an amazing friend that she like came from the airport with her luggage, came to the show. She missed Act 1, but she still saw Act 2. Me and Eric Floyd did a show together. We did Footloose together when I was 14 years old and have remained friends ever since. Like, CSA has given me some of the best friends that I've ever had, lifelong friends, and that's not my friend, that's my brother. Like, anything he ever needs from me, he can call me, he knows he'll get it if I have it. I'll be there for him, and it's some lifelong friendships here. And then there's some people here you'll never speak to again. That's just life. That's high school, that's college, that's adult life, that's whatever. So, yeah. And I would say CSA taught me to be myself. And I say that because, like, I wasn't myself for so long here. Like, I was, but I wasn't. I think high school is, like, so weird because, like, you're like, this is what I want to present to everybody, but this is who I am. And maybe I want people to also know who I am, but I don't want to show that to everybody in fear of being of judgment. When I tell you, it does not matter. It does not matter because, what's your name? Tyreek? There's no other Tyreeks in the school like you. You know what I mean? Like, it may be somebody with the same name, but like what you can offer, what you can do with your talent, nobody else can do. And the person next to you, you can't do what they do. And I think the sooner you realize that in high school of like, I'm an individual, I'm really dope, and that person is really dope, but we don't do the same thing, your experience will be so much more smoother. Yeah, so I think that, just being yourself.
All right, over here. Yeah. Let's wait.
I have two questions. First is, what are your tips to like stand out in auditions for colleges?
Uh-huh.
Second one is, what's your favorite?
Well, I can't say Hamilton, although it really was Hamilton before I got in Hamilton. Right now, currently, I guess my favorite musical is MJ on Broadway. It's really, really good. I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. I was like, ugh, they're gonna mess this up. They're gonna mess this up. And when I tell you, it's such amazing, intrepid work happening on that stage. It's really, really beautiful. And yeah, if you're in New York, go check out MJ. And the other part of the question was, sorry, say it again.
What are your tips to like stand out in auditions for colleges?
Oh, yeah, be yourself. If you know that like, you feel like a baddie with this one jacket on, like go to the audition and wear your jacket. Like, if you know that like, you've taken some classes and they're like, oh, don't do that song because everybody else is gonna do that song. Okay, well, they don't do that song like me, you know? Do it anyway. You are an individual, and I think the minute we try to box ourselves and we try to fit the mold of like, well, this is what you normally typically wear to an audition, or this is the monologue I should be doing. Don't do that. Also, be overly prepared. Like, I started this in college, actually. My brother made fun of me of how much I stressed about it, but when the audition breakdowns would come out for the roles to audition for, I would learn every one. I'm only called back for this one, but I'm gonna learn all 10. You're gonna pick me. Yeah, because like, I know every single part. I'm gonna be in it in some capacity. Also, know that just because you don't have something, I was talking to your guys' principal about it earlier, and like the journey never stops. Just because it's a no right now, doesn't mean that it's a no forever. People break legs and tibulas and fibulas and all kinds of stuff. Like you never know. So like if you can, I don't know if they have the opportunities here or not, but like always try to swing, always try to understudy, always try to learn as much of something if you really want it, because it'll probably pay off later. So just be overly prepared and be absolutely yourself, because again, nobody can do you like you're gonna do you. And even with casting, if they don't like what you bring, that's their loss. There'll be another project for you.
Yeah, Trinity.
Yeah, get lessons. And I think it sounds like, I don't know why, well, because I used to think this too, but like getting lessons in something doesn't mean that like you're bad at something. It's just perfecting a craft. So the learning never stops. Denzel Washington is still learning, you know, like Viola Davis is still learning. They're still taking acting classes. They're still, Chloe Bailey is still getting music lessons and vocal lessons. So I would say taking lessons, trying to also understand music and scales, because that really, really helps you. Do as much as possible with that. And we have such incredible access now that even if you can't afford private lessons, there's so many amazing master classes on YouTube and on Google, like for free. So I would say that, just start perfecting your voice. And your friends are gonna be honest with you. So sing for your friends. They're gonna tell you if you can sing or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speak up a little bit for me, sorry.
I've had this question for a while, and I haven't really talked to an alumni about this, but especially you, since you said that you did multiple things at CSA.
Uh-huh.
My question is, how did you balance between the schoolwork? How did you balance between your grades and everything going on at home, and also having this like artistic outlet? Because I want to do so many things here, and I feel like it's just I just can't.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a really, really, really good question. I fought really hard to do the things that I wanted to do, and at times me and Doc bumped heads about it. At times me and I don't even know if the people still here bumped heads about it, but I kind of had to gain their trust. So like, yes, I will be prepared for this rehearsal, and I can do this. And I couldn't do PSOP because I didn't want PSOP to take half of my day away from arts, but then, okay, I'm gonna do Tri-C classes at night or on the weekends, you know? So like, my schedule was absolutely insane, but I really wanted to do what I do now. So like, if you really want it, I promise you, you can make it happen, but you have to let the administrative team trust you to craft out your own path if you're gonna do that. They will absolutely budge and let you do that, but like, I graduated with a 4.0. You have to like let them know that like my grades aren't a thing. And so that means that like, if I suck at calculus, I'm getting a C right now, then I need to get a tutor. I need to stay up all night. I need to, okay, school is at 8, and I've done it before, I need to get up at 6 then, because I need to work on those things. So, and that goes to a point of something I was talking about with Doc. Work ethic means everything. You could be the most talented person in this room. If you do not have the work ethic, if you don't craft out the time to do all these things, it won't matter. I know so many talented people, this program has crafted some of the most crazy singers I know, some of the best actors, and they aren't doing it anymore, I think simply just because of work ethic and opportunity. So as long as you are on your ish and you're good with that, I think it'll happen. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna hit bumps, you're gonna wanna pull your hair out, but you'll get it.
Yeah, Rio, then DeVito, yeah.
Shut up. How did you go about finding an agent and knowing and figuring out who was the right agent?
Yeah, so like I said, my agent came to the BW showcase. So we do this thing at the end of your 4 years where you go and you perform in New York in April for the industry. The whole industry comes out, casting directors, producers, managers, agents, all types of people. So that's how I ended up signing with my agent, but you go on agent interviews. So out of the 45 that had interest in me, I think I went to like 20 interviews and just tried to, talk. I think a lot of people also go in of like, ooh, I want to work for you. And I'm like, no, why do you want to work for me? I'm making you the money, And I think that's the attitude you should have of like, this is my career. I'm in charge of my career. I know you've done this, but what can you bring to me and what can we bring to each other as a team that's going to propel me to be the next big actor, So I think that, and I kind of saw who crafted things out for me. Like a lot of people are like, you're a star. And it's like, yes, but what does that mean? Like what can we work on to get there? So that's kind of the journey process for that. Yeah.
DeVito, yeah.
Speak up a little bit for me. Mm-hmm. I'm with A3. They used to be Abrams, and they still are kind of Abrams, but A3 artists. Yeah, you can look them up on Instagram or Google and see their alum. They're working in everything: TV, film, Broadway, everywhere. And the cool thing about it is they're the only agency that's tri-coastal. So a lot of agencies you'll get your LA agencies, your New York agencies, but my agency is New York, LA, and London based. So it's just a lot more, you're auditioning for a lot more.
Yeah, Dave, and then we'll go here.
Did you have any other jobs while you were working as an artist?
Did I have any other jobs while I was working, like at CSA?
Like as an artist, or just like when you were in college, or when you actually went to
Oh yeah, when I was in college at BW, I was doing Great Lakes Theater Festival, Idaho Shakespeare Festival, Oregon Shakespeare Festival. Like I was always in a bunch of shows that I kind of had the opportunity through my college to do equity shows and regional works that give you a lot of money. But I was also working at like the campus little smoothie shop. Even though I was only in New York for those 2 weeks, like I like money and I always want to make sure I have it. Cause I used to be, fun fact, when I went to CSA, like I always dressed really nice cause like I was thrifting my little butt off and like made sure the fits were it, but like I didn't have money. I didn't come from money. A lot of times I got into fights with my parents at home. I had a really bad home life. So a lot of times I was like going from friend's couch. Like I didn't come from money and things like that at all. But yeah, when I was even in New York for those 2 weeks, I was like a bartender. I lied to get the job. They were like, have you bartended before? I said, absolutely. I never made a drink in my life. I drank them, but I never made a drink in my life. But I figured it out as I went. I mean, even when I went to CSA, I would be in 3-4 shows, but I was still working at like Kaiser Permanente and Chick-fil-A and Next. You know what I mean? Like I always made sure I had like a bunch of jobs. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would you ever switch like your agent or your manager? Like if somebody came along with like a better offer?
That is a really good question. People do. I think it's a thing of what's working for me in my career right now. What goals do I have? And if your agent or your manager is on the same lines as you and y'all have the same outlook, then and if it's working, great. But if you also feel like you maybe need to take a risk and grow, that may be a thing of you want to switch an agent or a manager. I didn't always have an agent and a manager. I just had an agent, and I recently added a manager once I started doing TV film because it's a lot going on, and I can't do it all. But yeah, there's a whole team. There's an agent, a manager, a publicist, the style. Like it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Can we get Destiny Star to ask questions? She's wearing a Hamilton sweatshirt.
I see.
What would you say to somebody that like knows like the way how they want their life to be, but isn't sure how to like actually go forward? They have like the plan all set up, but they just don't know how to actually initiate.
Absolutely. You gotta ask questions. And I never liked asking for help, but I think that asking for help is really essential because people need people. And I hate to say it, but like people actually do need people because we help each other. You gotta ask questions. If you see someone who has maybe more access or the path that you're trying to create and you wanna try to get there, just ask questions. And I think you have to also like if you said you know your path, but you don't quite know how to get there, you got to take a risk too, and just kind of like jump to go get it. And we can talk more about that offline, but yeah, you gotta start taking risk and not play it safe. Yeah.
I'd like to ask sort of a follow-up to that, and that is, I told you I was going to ask you this question. If you could talk to the 16-year-old Warren Franklin, who was going to CSA, dealing with academics, dealing with home life, dealing with all this stuff. Mm-hmm. What advice would you say?
I would say that none of this matters. That would be the best advice I could say to my 16-year-old self. I think in high school, we get obsessed with what we wear and what we look like and what role we're booking and what role a friend booked And if I'm the lead in the dance, if I have the first solo, if I got the vocal part, you know, like I think we get obsessed with that. And we're not thinking that this is just a really, really small step in the grand scheme of what we're doing if you want to do this professionally. So I was really oftentimes too hard on myself, and I would say like, it's okay. Like take it in, it's okay, calm down, it doesn't matter as much as you think it is. And that's probably what I would say to myself.
So what does matter? What is important?
What does matter, what is important, I think networking. And you probably don't even think you're networking now, but like the staff here are industry professionals. Like Miss Richardson did me a favor that like kind of got me into college, you know? Like I think networking, being really kind to everybody, I make sure like whatever city we're on tour in, I want to know the head custodian, I want to know the head usher, I want to know who, when I'm on set, I want to know who's operating camera B, I want to know the rigger, I want to know the carpenter, because like those people, and have been, when I left the set of Grownish, I come to a new set that's all the way across the country, it's the same people in there. So if you're an ass to these people and you have a negative attitude and you're mean to them or you're unprepared, that follows you. And I think we don't always know that or we'll see that, but I've seen so many people in the industry be blacklisted who are really talented, but just like a pain to work with, or people who are really talented who have enough credits where like they work and have really, really good resumes, but like people hate to see them coming because they're like, ugh, we have to deal with this, you know? So I would say being humble, and as easy as you could have all of these accolades, God could take it right away from you. So stay humble.
Yeah, Mom. Okay, I'll go. Don't freak out.
Yeah, I'm always burned out. 8 shows a week is really hard, and on tour it's even harder because like my typical schedule is like yesterday was my day off, but I have a show tonight, I have a show Wednesday, I have a show Thursday, I have a show Friday, and then usually we have 2 shows on Saturday, 2 shows on Sunday, then you only get Monday off, and then you're back in it again. And sometimes you don't even get Monday off because Monday is a travel day to the next city. So you hop off the flight and then you just get to it. So I think I have like the cutest dog ever. And even though he gets on my nerves, sometimes I try to like play with my dog or call my brother and talk about anything other than Hamilton, or take my day off to fly somewhere to see a friend, or take as many vacations as I can. I'm the kind of person, I know we all, either you're this person too or you have this friend, but I'm like, I don't want to do nothing by myself. Like, I'm with my friends. Like, I don't want to go to the movies by myself. I'm like, you go to the movies by yourself, you weird. You go out to eat by yourself, you weird. And a lot of my plans with my friends kept falling through for my vacation in July. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to book a ticket to Madrid, Spain by myself. I'm going to go to Madrid, and then I'm going to go to Barcelona all alone by myself for a week. And I'm not gonna talk to nobody. I'm gonna just do me. And it was like the best decision I made. Like you have to like, I think we wait too long on our friends and family to make big decisions and things we want. And it's like, no, you gotta take it. So like, you have to book the ticket. You have to take the risk on yourself. And it made me so happy that I started my summer off like that, because I wouldn't have, like me last year, if you would say like, you're gonna take a trip to Spain by yourself, I'm like, and you're lying, you know? Like, that's just not me. So I think stepping out of your comfort zone a lot. And it inspired me as an artist. The new show that I'm on, I don't think that I would be able to plug in some of my emotions and major and minor thoughts that I have if it wasn't for that solo trip I took to Spain. So, yeah. Oh, hey. Mm-hmm. That's a good question. So I'll be honest with you guys. So I say like, so my tour life, so the pandemic is here, and then like the beginning of tour, and then now the end of it. So at the beginning of tour, I was the youngest, I am still the youngest principal in Hamilton. So when I started Hamilton, I was 22, and everyone else was like 30s, 40s, late 20s, and I was like, I don't want people to think that I'm this young kid that don't know what I'm doing. So I did like 250 shows in a row before I ever called out. And it was the dumbest thing I've ever done, because why? For who? There were so many times where I was sick, or my voice wasn't 100%, or I was just like mentally and physically exhausted, but I didn't want anyone to think that I was immature or I was not right for the role, or they shouldn't have picked me. So I just kept doing it. And now coming back, like, I will take a day to call out just to like rest my voice or to rest my mind, you know? I listen to my body and my mind now, and I did not do that before in fear of, again, what I was doing in high school. Like, I don't want people to think this about me, or that I'm a bad person, or that I don't have work ethic. So I'll take a day for myself now, every now and then, just to be like, I'm exhausted. I cannot do this. Like, Broadway is hard, and it wasn't built for humans. It wasn't. And Hamilton's even harder. And there's no way we should be doing 5-show weeks of Hamilton, or even 8-show weeks, but we do. That's the game. That's what I signed on the dotted line for. But making time to step away and say, like, I cannot do this. And that's okay. That doesn't make me any less or more talented than anybody else.
Yes.
Okay, well, now I have 3 questions. So, the first question, I don't know if you know, but would you say that CSA improved from the last time you've been here? Would you say that?
Improved? I don't know how to answer that question, just for the simple fact of I graduated into, this building didn't exist when I graduated. So I don't know.
So let me tell you my question.
Okay.
How is life when you, how was it when you made it? I don't even know.
It was great. I think a lot of times, actually, I say this to my friends, a lot of people are like, ugh, I would kill to do college again. And I'm like, ugh. You couldn't pay, like, you literally could not pay me to go back to college. Like, I would never do that. I didn't want to go to grad school. I didn't want master. Like, I didn't want any of that. I would do high school over again in a heartbeat. I loved high school. I loved it. It was just, at least the CSA I knew at Harry E. Davis, it was just like you walked into the building and you just felt this overwhelming thing of like, ugh, I could do like, it's gonna be a good day. We're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna learn something. I'm gonna have fun with my friends. We're gonna create some crazy art. Like, it just felt good. It felt really good when I went to school, but I don't know what the atmosphere here is yet.
My next question, this is my last question.
That's okay.
What's something that holds you back from doing what you really want?
What's something that holds me back? Myself sometimes. Myself. And I'm getting better at it as the older I'm getting, but I think a lot of times we have dreams where we want to do things and we're like, I'm too young for this, or I'm too old for this, or I'm too tall, or whatever. Like, I get in my head a lot. Like, anytime I audition for something, I'm like going down the list of everything, especially the people who are already cast or whatever, and I kind of pick a reason that, like, oh, if this doesn't work out, it's the reason why. And this year, one of my goals was like, you're not a casting director. That's not what you went to school for. You're an actor. You do the work. You leave it. So myself, and I think we can all attest to that. Sometimes we get in our own heads about things, and yeah.
Let's see if there's someone who hasn't. Yes, let's go here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I have
Trying to
just
spread
one
out
simple,
nature.
well, maybe not simple, but what advice would you give the juniors that are either going into their major from high school to college, or not going into their major from high school to college? I know you stuck with your major, but what would you say to those people who are sticking with their major and who are not?
Okay. If you are sticking with your major, congrats. You have a one-up on a lot of people in college because there are not a lot of art schools in places. So congrats on that. But that doesn't mean lay in it and lay back in it. Still do really good work in the summer leading up to. And if you decide to do another major, that's okay. That's okay. I think sometimes when, like, we go to school for things and we end up doing something else, it's maybe looked down upon of like, well, I wasted my time or my energy and my money because I didn't do that. But like, you can have a change of heart. You might go to college, do 2 years, and decide you want to change your major your junior year. Like, that's what college is for. We're still figuring things out. So it's okay.
Yes.
Between doing television work and stage work, what would you say about the other type of work?
On stage, like I'm really shy. Like I'm really shy right now. Like I'm a shy person, but on stage and on camera, I kind of just like lose myself and open up and kind of just like turn into a different person. And on stage, there's nothing like walking out in front of like a live audience and like performing and like looking out in the first row and being like, I got you, don't I? Like, you know what I mean? Like taking someone and like putting it all out there and know that like that one single performance will never happen again. Whereas TV, it's takes. It's a lot of takes. We can do 100 takes of something. We had a scene that we did for Grownish actually where it was literally 100 takes. And because it was during COVID and there was kissing in the scene, we had to like list because they thought Listerine killed COVID. So we like had to like mouthwash in between every scene and kiss and do everything again because with TV, if we're shooting a scene right now and these are the 3 cameras, this is the setup for the first scene, then we have to cut. Then now there's a camera up, like there's like, I don't think people realize how meticulous TV is. And also, even though there's a new setup or a new take, there's a continuity officer because you have to do the same thing-ish that you did last time with the same body, language, and physicalities because you don't want to piss off the editor in the editing room and be like, she did 6 different things for every setup. I can't edit this. So then that messes up your coverage. So then we're gonna give all the coverage to her because you kept messing up everything. So yeah, it's a lot, it's meticulous, but I will say with theater, you work harder for maybe less money because you really love it. And with TV film, it's a lot of sitting and waiting. So like you might have a 1 p.m. call time, but you might not touch the camera to 7 and then you're done at 9. Like it's a lot of sitting and waiting, but like the payoff is better. But it's pros and cons to everything. They both have their things that I love and hate about the other. Yeah.
Amina.
Hey. Mm-hmm.
But it's like, when it comes to like, cause everybody does music.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we don't connect. Like that boy, they do that.
Do you mean like dance doesn't connect with theater and theater?
Yeah,
Okay.
like you can like, look like, say somebody do music, but they was never in your movie. Like, we don't.
Got you. I think that's a really good observation. And I think we definitely felt that a little bit and that it was hard to kind of create and craft things. However, I think, at least what I saw, that like New Play Festival was our time where we did get to connect things. And I always try when I was here. It never worked out, I think, because, does All City still exist? Yeah. Oh, okay. It never happened because of All City, but I always thought that like, I think Doc would be like a beast at directing a musical, and if Woods was the music director, like I always thought that those things should happen, and that like if maybe visual arts did like set design for it, and is fashion a major here now? Or did I make that up? Yeah. So like if fashion did cut, like I always thought that, but like battles, you choose them. I was like, okay, I also just asked to be in jazz art and dance, and I'm in theater, so like, you know, like I didn't get an opportunity to do everything, but I think if you think those things, you be the one to change it. Create and craft a plan, write it all out for administration to be like, this is what we're missing. This will elevate us and cultivate us to be the next big thing in art schools. Here's how we can do it. Set up a meeting. I think like sometimes we think we're kids and then this is administrators. Like, no, set up a meeting with the principal or head of arts, or what is it, head of arts? Dean of arts. Like, set up a meeting with them. you're a student. You go here, you should be here. They're lucky to have you, and they're amazing thinkers like you that could literally change the whole course of what the school has. And I think that there's nothing stopping that amazing idea. So I would say do that. You're welcome.
In the high school, we also do this.
Oh, nice. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, young lady has run that.
I wanted to ask you, with the new genre with rapping and musicals, I mean, is that a part of the college curriculum now?
No. No. I still don't think the same way that, and this is kind of like music theater nerding out now, but like the same way that like Lin-Manuel Miranda wasn't really a part of the curriculum until like 1 or 2 years ago. And everything from then was like stopped at Sondheim or Rodgers and Hammerstein. You know what I mean? Like we're not quite there yet, and they just expect you to do it, which is funny because I feel like this is the issue with casting is they feel like every black person who's an actor can rap, and that's not true. Just because you black don't mean you got rhythm, and that's okay. That's okay. But I think we're still so early on in like diverse casting that I think even casting and producers are still learning that black people are not a monolith. We can do any and everything, but that doesn't mean because you're a black person, you do or are willing to do any and everything. It's a very big difference. So I think the industry's still learning that.
Yes.
The music to Hamilton? Like a week? I only had like 2 weeks of rehearsal. Yeah. And I think like, but also like in my first week of rehearsals, like I didn't listen to anything but Hamilton. Like I woke up, I got in the shower, Hamilton, got in the car, Hamilton, went to sleep to Hamilton. Like, and that's what you should do. Like if you're in a show here, like if you're in a musical, if you have a monologue, you need to voice record it, put it in your ear. Like you should eat, breathe, sleep, and crap your craft, you know? So like, so I didn't really learn it. It kind of just like learned me. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet.
I did do In the Heights, yeah. That was my first college show, actually. That's how, like, without In the Heights, I feel like me and Lynn wouldn't have been able to connect in the way we did, actually. Yeah.
All right, 2 questions. One, how did you feel when you got the part of Hamilton? And 2, when you're not doing Hamilton, what do you like to do for your downtime?
Yeah. It was my dream role, so, like, I was, like, over the moon. I was, like, crying. Like, I was so happy. I was so happy. And yeah, when I'm not performing, I like to just turn off. Literally yesterday was like my day off and I had all these plans, and like the best part of the day was just like watching TV and eating. I love to eat. I really love to eat. Yeah, so just doing like regular things, like literally the most regular things that you could possibly do, because I don't get to do them a lot, makes me really happy. Yeah, talking to friends, having a FaceTime with a friend. Like, it's so bad now, I kind of have to like schedule FaceTimes. So like just doing regular things. Yeah.
I'd like to ask just a couple more questions and then give students a chance to just talk to you a little more privately.
Okay.
Because we have to finish on time, because we also have to interview Warren for a few things. So just a couple more questions. Yeah, why don't we have a question right here?
It's not a 2-part question. Everybody went through COVID at the same time, but in different parts of the way. So what's the biggest thing that you feel like you learned during COVID?
Absolutely. We were talking about this earlier. I don't really think I knew who I was without art, because I was always performing. I was always like, I kind of like wasn't a real person. I was just whoever I needed to be at the time for the part. You know what I mean? I wasn't like really within myself. So I think it was like, yo, who is Warren Egypt Franklin? Who is he? And it really did help me. Cause like also like I saw some parts of me that was like nasty. Like, why do you think that way? Why do you have the ideology? And it's because like you've been going nonstop. Like, it was a moment for me to check myself. Like, yo, if you keep thinking like that, you're not gonna be successful. Or if you keep thinking like that, you won't be successful because you need to work harder, you need to do more. So kind of things like that, yeah.
So, can you remind me what was your first show? Like, ever?
My first show ever?
I'll just say for high school.
Okay, my first big high school show was Footloose. It was the all-city musical. We did it at Playhouse Square. Yeah.
So from Footloose to where you're at now,
Uh-huh.
getting into and getting out of like something like talk shows, how hard is it? Or
It can be hard because I play it's like one of the only roles where you get to play the hero and the villain, and even the villain to the villain. It's really interesting because Thomas Jefferson is nasty. He was a really nasty, terrible person. And the way we depict him as kind of like this rock star who is still nasty, but who like, I try to make you fall in love with the nasty. You know what I mean? Like, but that's my job of like making you see like the cool things about him and the wit and the intrepidness and not so much of the like dark, nasty, crazy things that he's done. And then as far as Lafayette, he's one of the coolest people ever that fought for our revolution and our financial system and did amazing things. And he's like swaggy and cool and chill. So I think not letting myself get stuck in either one of those is good. And actually, I think the fact that I get to play both doesn't let me get stuck into either one of those. And also, like, the guys who play the Sons of Liberty with me, like Mulligan Madison, Lawrence Phillip Hamilton, like, we're best friends in real life. So, like, it's easy to fight somebody on stage who, like, you're gonna come off stage and be laughing with. You know what I mean? Like, because we've had people who that was not the case. So it makes the work a little harder when they take it so personally, where I know that, like, whatever he throws at me on stage, that's not the actor and me, that's Hamilton and Jefferson. That has nothing to do with us. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always try to make sure I drink as much water as possible. And it's gonna sound really crazy, but like the best thing for me to do is to, of course, like vocally warm up in the shower, but like Hamilton's such a serious show and it's so long that like me and my boys are in the dressing room and we just turn on music and we just like dancing and laughing for 30 minutes. Like that's like the best way to prep, is just like to like be as silly as possible, to have as much fun as possible before like the work starts. So I would say that like I'm really big on music, and so like we have like a different playlist for every day, and just like listening to the playlist and like zoning out with the boys is probably like the best thing. Mm-hmm. You, uh-huh.
I've had other people in my life tell me like you need a backup plan, especially
No, 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 no. Yep. I saw something on the news the other day that was like the most useless majors, and theater and arts were number one. But also, I say this to challenge that. When the pandemic happened, what'd they have? All they had was TV and arts and film. So the same things that y'all said would not be a big or useful, that's what y'all was looking at all day. So I would say that makes no sense. That's people projecting their insecurities of dreams that they didn't fulfill. So do what you want to do. Yeah. It's fun. Uh-huh. It's funny because that's the song that I do 6.3 words per second, but it's kind of like the easiest song. Because it's so fast, so like, you can't breathe in it because everything just comes out. There's no really time to mess up. It's just like, you blink and it's over. So I'd say that's probably one of the easiest, if that makes sense. I know it probably sounds crazy, but like, it's sometimes like the hardest things in our life are the easiest because like, we're so accustomed and so used to. Also, like I do it on Sunday, it'll be my 700th show. So like, I've just done it over and over and over again. Yeah. What would I tell someone who lacks motivation but loves what they do? Lose his motivation. So what I do, and like it hasn't worked for everything I've done in my career, but like write it out. If like you're like, ugh, I don't know where to get my motivation from. Maybe my parents are not the most motivating, my friends are not the most motivating. Write out what you want and like put it on the refrigerator, put it in the front part of your folder. Or what I do even is like take a picture of it, be like, I want to be the first EGOT from Cleveland by 30. Take a picture of it, make that your wallpaper. I feel like if you see the vision and the dream, like if you're forced to see it, it's gonna happen. And if it won't exactly happen, a step will hit to being there soon. That's what I think. A lot of the roles that I booked is because I wrote it out first.
Did you do your own research on the characters that you played? I know like you guys get scripts and stuff, and like, it gives you information and stuff. But did you do your own research to like really get into the character?
Absolutely. When I took over, so the role that I took over for, the original guy, David Diggs, he won a Tony for it. It's a really iconic role, but I didn't want to do anything that he did. The guy who was playing it on Broadway, I didn't want to do anything he did. The guy on my tour, I was like, And it's not because like they were bad or anything. I was just like, I don't want to play a caricature of a character. I don't really like when people just try to like be a chess piece in a production and do the same thing. So I kind of looked at the things that I liked. I looked at the missed beats and missed moments that I thought needed to be in there. And then I dove into the original Alexander Hamilton book written by Ron Chernow. A lot of boring, what would be perceived as boring research and script analysis and finding out like, even though it's a rap is just Shakespeare. That's all it is. It's still major and minor thoughts. It's still operative words. It's the exact same thing. The exact same thing. So kind of like scoring my libretto and kind of figuring out like what I want to do, where I want to create emphasis and whatnot. So a lot of research was done, but also for a second there, I was like, okay, don't do too much. It's okay, like don't do too much. But I kind of just drowned myself in all things Hamilton for like a week at least to just like do as much research. And I'm still learning things. Like both of the characters I play are such prolific pieces in our history that I'm learning things all the time. I was like, oh, Thomas Jefferson did that, or like this person did this. So like I'm always learning. Yeah.
Just a question. From here to college, do you feel that your training that you had here helped you? Do you feel like you had a lot more knowledge than even some of the people that you went to school with when you got there?
Yeah, I would say that I confidently feel like I would not be who I am if I didn't be in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. And I say CMSD because I include CSA and All City Arts. They were such a pivotal part of who I am. And like my mom like moved us out the hood to try to move us to Bedford. And I still was like, I don't want to go to Bedford because they don't have the opportunities that I have. I'm gonna wake up at 5:30 a.m. every day. I'm gonna catch my bus at 6 and go all the way to the hood every day for school because that's where it was good for me. And I think sometimes we try to, based on allocation and things, we're like, oh, because this school is in Beechwood or this school is in Pepper Pike or this school is there, that it's more opportunity. But I actually felt like I had more opportunity in training here than I would have gotten in any other school district in Cleveland. That helped me propel further than a lot of other kids I went to college with, but even in the industry with. Yeah. Oh, that's so nice. Uh-huh. That is so nice. I really appreciate that. We're not far away. Like, I know it seems like, and I used to think that, I'm like, oh, alumni and people who come, like, they're there and I'm here, but like, you're not that far away, like, at all. And when I tell you, like, once you get out of here, college is gonna like, you're gonna be like, damn, like, what happened? Like, it's gonna fly by. But I appreciate that. Thank you.
Speaking on alumni and just, how they come back and give to us, how important is that? And how was it important in your life to see people who came to the school, rather they're successful in what they do or just living life? How is that, how did that impact you?
Absolutely. I feel like there was always alum who came back, whether I knew them or not, that maybe just graduated last year or 5 years ago, but we always had different people come and help us all the time. And I feel like it showed me that like I just said, like we're not that far away from them. So that was an essential part of my learning. And I would say that like, you kind of inspired me as thinking here. I'm thinking with Eric. I'm like, oh, I got to talk to Eric about this later because I'm like, we can come together to create this. And I was talking to Taylor Terry about this, but like, we can do this to like build a whole alumni thing here at CSA. So like, the work never stops. There's always something that somebody could be building to further the future. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say every different actor has their own process, so I can only speak to me. But I think before I go out, I'm thinking about the little 6-year-old kid who was up there who was so excited to see this, especially on like matinees. I'm just that actor. I hate a matinee. I hate a matinee. I don't want to do Hamilton at 1 o'clock or at 2. I think it's dumb. It's like a night show. It's like a high energy hip hop show. I'm like, why are we doing a matinee? So for those days, I'm like, I also think about the fact that like somebody in the audience, this is their first show ever. Like they've never seen this show. And it's their first show ever. Also, what you don't realize is somebody in the audience, this is their last show ever. Life just happens. Look, and it could be because of death. It could be because of money and access and opportunity. But like, you have a duty to change someone's life. So I kind of really take that to heart. And I'm like, ugh, I don't feel like it, but let me go ahead and change somebody's life real quick. Like, you know what I mean? Like, once you get that mentality, it really helps. And I think coming out of it is just like leaving it all on the stage. Like, trying to leave it all out there. Because, like, there are days and moments where, like, I mess up or I say the wrong lyric or line and things, and I used to be so hard on myself about it. And I'm like, it's 49 more songs to go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the moment you can, like, shake that off and just go into the next song or the next scene, it just serves you better. Yeah. And taking time to wind down after. Get a, well, high school, but like, get a version drink, you know, pour some Sprite, you know, just like cool off. So, yeah. Uh-huh.
Would you ever write a show inspired by like CSA or like your experience at CSA?
That would be an interesting show. That would be an interesting show. I don't know, maybe. I'm always writing crazy things, crazy ideas, but yeah, that, maybe, I don't know. Mm-hmm.
When you went here, did you think did you like, before you came here, did you think that was like High School Musical, like everybody else?
Did I think it would be High School Musical?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
No.
That's crazy.
No. I didn't think so. Huh, yeah. Yeah, I never thought about that. Yes. First of all, discovery, because Cleveland is the largest theater district outside of New York. There are more opportunities in Cleveland for young performers than anywhere else in the country. Bigger than Atlanta's theater district, bigger than DC's theater district, bigger than LA's theater district. Only other place besides New York you're gonna get the same amount of opportunities is here. So access, network, talk to people, audition at, we have so many, what's your major? Theater majors. So there's Dobama, there's Kane Park, there's Great Lakes Theater Festival, there is Mercury, there's Karamu, there's like, we could sit here and go on and on and on, but there's so many opportunities here, and I would say diversify your resume and try to literally perform at all those theaters. One theater will lead you to the next, that theater will lead you to the next, and it'll push you into a position. But I don't think you should think like, oh, I'm in Cleveland, like all the opportunities are here. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Hey.
Hi. Okay. So I don't know if it's deep, but it's not deep to me.
Uh-oh.
So, no shame. So Wait. So, yes, I did.
That's okay. We'll come back to you. It's okay. I'm trying to pick on the same people, but yes.
If there was a musical or like a TV show musical type of thing that you could beat that you could have been in place of Hamilton, which one would it be?
I wouldn't trade any of my experiences for another experience because all my experiences made me who I am. But before, other than Hamilton, I really wanted to be in Wicked. I really wanted to be in Wicked, and I auditioned for Wicked on Broadway and the Wicked movie at the same time. And I couldn't do both, they said, so I ended up auditioning for the movie instead of the Broadway musical, but like, I really wanted to be in Wicked for a while. Yeah. You got it? Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Did you have to
dismiss
let
everybody.
go of anything to like be where you are now, like such as the mindset, like people?
Yeah, I had to drop a lot of people. I feel like if we're being honest, people in Cleveland don't have the best mentality sometimes. A lot of people are stuck, or as we were talking about, I'm from, and y'all know this because you're from Cleveland, but a lot of times it's like, oh, me and Eric are both performers. Well, I gotta get the job first before Eric, because like it's me. That's what I gotta look out for me first. But it's like, well, what if I heard about an opportunity that maybe I couldn't do? So then I pass it on to Eric. Eric networks with that manager. Then later down the line, that manager is a producer for something. Like it literally, that's life. Like that's how the industry works. And I feel like the sooner we're able to give opportunities and praise to our peers in the industry, it just elevates you. If I can't see something, I'm gonna put him on my shoulder so he can see it, so then he could tell me how to get there. But unfortunately in Cleveland, that's not a lot of the time, the mindset. And I feel like the quicker you get out of that and we can praise each other, then we can take more people with us. Because it's so much talent here. But I feel like we get in the way sometimes with the mentality of like, I gotta be first. I'm talented. Everyone needs to see me. Where it's like, maybe they don't need to see you first. Maybe they need to see your friend or your sister, your brother, whoever first, and then that'll get you to where you wanna be.
Warren, I love that. Unfortunately, we have to wrap this up.
Okay.
I'd just like to say thank you for being here.
Of course.
Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your kindness. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Really
I appreciate
appreciate it.
it.
Can we
Thank
give
y'all
him a
for having
hand?
me.